education is power.
Yes.
Knowledge is power. So apart from providing for them food and all that, I think the best gift that the government agencies like yours and ours is to emphasize education.
I agree completely with you. If you read Paul Collier's Wars, Guns and Votes, Democracy in Dangerous Places, he identified literacy, that is education we're talking about, as one of the components that if you don't have it, democracy will start working against you. For instance, before you vote, you look at the candidates, their manifestos, their programs, their policies, their antecedents, and you only have one vote. And that your one vote is nullified by another vote of someone who had not gone to a school before, cannot understand what they are discussing on the television, and he's expected to have a franchise. And that franchise can be easily compromised with 500 naira, a bottle of codeine or whatever their favorite substance is, and then accusation of you being an infidel, and his vote totally has been compromised. If you give this person education, that vote becomes much more difficult to compromise because he can now engage his faculties. The same way people, when these Boko Haram are recruiting, they don't even have solid arguments. If you watch their recruitment videos, how they don't have solid arguments. For instance, you also know that the South is where I'm coming from, succumbed to terrorism, homegrown terrorism, and we're telling them even if you wanted a different entity, the approach is wrong. So, but if you see the kind of illogical arguments they make, and people follow them, and you wonder, what has happened? So I that's why you also look at the quality of education. And that's why I'm so happy with what the Lord is about to do in Africa. We have seen it clearly. Because Africa's model of education will re-educate the world. What you have currently is not working. You have people who are in and out of school, but they can't reason. In and out of school, no skills. But also what you have in the West is also a corrupted version of education because they have so much light, so much illumination. But anytime you go there, they take God away from the equation. So they know so much, but that education, that knowledge is taking them away from the knowledge of God. What you have in Africa is also something that looks like we don't know, but we know a little bit of God. So, but you want that our God is a very intelligent God, a knowledgeable God. If you see the way He designed it, it cannot be less than this God is in, and He wants us to function in that regard. So I don't accept the kind of knowledge that is anti-God. You say you are a scientist, and then the end of your sciences is to claim that there is no God. But you also don't want where we believe in superstition that does not engage the faculties of the mind. So I'm looking forward to that place in Africa where you have people who are knowledgeable about their society, knowledgeable about their environment, know what God wants them to do, and they have the skills. Like, is it Oholiab? No. What is the name of the person who, when the Lord gave Moses the template of the ark, this is the exact template of the ark. Bezalel, those are the kind of skillful people we are looking for. Right? People who can get the vision, and they have the technical skills to implement it to the letter. Those are the kind of quality education that we're beginning to see, and I'm grateful to God about the kind of men He's beginning to raise, even if not your generation, but younger people, the kind of mantles He's giving them, that these people will redesign the education landscape. I thank God for the foundation that you are building for us. But when you have built this foundation, like every father is praying for the son to do much, that if you have covered this ground, like Joshua will cover his ground, but the ones after that, or Moses will cover his ground, but Joshua will drive the enemy further. That this next generation, like you are mentoring and producing, will be able to fight, will be able to stand with the enemies at the gate, will be able to confront. Because if you don't do this, the West is marketing their own civilization.
I tell you.
From the East, China, they are marketing their civilization. Saudi Arabia is marketing their civilization. Africa seems to be the only continent that doesn't have a definite ideological framework. And in this potpourri of influences, the one I fear the most is that of Babylon. Because you know what Babylon will do to this generation. And that's what they're marketing us, their media, their education, their everything. And you see now a lot of people, because of the insecurity, because of the situation, even economic insecurity, a lot of us are trooping to that place to do our masters, to do our this. And many people who were talking before they left, now went there and I said, all this your prayer. Are you sure? How are you sure? And these people will still come back. And they will come back with money. And they will come back with influence. And people that are easily to manipulate will say, it is me that's been praying, no results. Them. And you don't want that kind of thing to happen.